I'm so glad that I found out he could bring me out and show me the way.
Yay! Now say, Footprints in American History rocks. That's my channel.
Footprints of American History rocks.
Yay, thanks.
That's going on your YouTube, huh?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well we're the Keller Family Singers. Give me your track.
Nice to meet you guys.
I love
You too.
Yeah, you'll be in the video. I'll make sure. Okay, welcome to another edition of Footprints in American History. I am now at Dade Battlefield in Bushnell, Florida. I'm actually about 6 miles from the other video I did where I went to visit my dad's grave. And this is actually a really interesting park to visit. Wanted to just kind of read this a little bit to give you an idea of the history of the park, and then we're going to take a look at a few different spots. And basically, this is just kind of give you an idea how this war started. You're going to be amazed by some of the things you'll see. It basically talked about the First Seminole War took place in Florida and southern Georgia when U.S. troops attacked and defeated a group of Seminoles. Spain formally ceded Florida to the United States in 1821. When Florida became a U.S. territory, more settlers began steadily moving into tribal territory. The Native Americans were forced to move south. By the 1830s, significant conflict had arisen between the Seminoles and white settlers who had coveted Seminole lands. The Seminole practice of giving refuge to fugitive slaves added further cause for conflict. With the signing of the Treaty of Payne's Landing in 1832, some chiefs agreed to move to territory west of the Mississippi River. Widespread opposition to this treaty, led by a Seminole named Osceola. Anybody that's a Florida State fan, we all know who Osceola is. Resulted in the outbreak of the Second Seminole War. In December 1835, 108 U.S. troops and officers were marching from Fort Brooke on Tampa Bay. That is currently downtown Tampa. I wanted to show you the sign real quick. It says Fort Brooke. That is actually downtown Tampa now. And if you go over by the Marriott downtown Tampa, right on the waterfront there, you will actually see right next to it a big area that gives you an outlay of what Fort Brooke looked like in its heyday. It's ironic because if you go to downtown Tampa now, you have no clue that there's anything there with the exception of that area that's marked recognizing that next to the Marriott or the Fort Brooke parking garage. And then also Fort King, 41 miles. Okay, so December 1835, 108 U.S. troops and officers were marching from Fort Brooke on Tampa Bay to reinforce Fort King in present-day Ocala. 100 miles from Fort Brooke, they were attacked by 180 Seminole warriors. All but 3 of the soldiers were killed. In 1921, the state legislature appropriated funds for the preservation of this battle site as a memorial. So you can see where the original breastworks were. That's what's behind me, what I just shot a second ago. And so we will take a look at some of these areas where this battlefield took place. So, shall we? Just want to read this marker for you. Up this peaceful road from Fort Brooke toward Fort King came Dade's men to their deaths. Fort Brooke of 1835 is the Tampa of today. Fort King, 106 miles north by the military road, is now Ocala. Okay, I just wanted to read to you this marker here. It says, for 5 days, the Seminoles had stealthily observed the march of Dade's column on its way to reinforce a small garrison at Fort King. Unknown to Major Dade's command, Osceola, Micanopy, and Alligator had planned to attack Dade's men and kill General Thompson, the Indian agent, at Fort King. At 8 o'clock on December 28, 1835, 2/3 of the march had been covered, and the open country here seemed to require less vigilance. Big deal when you're dealing with enemies. Flanking scouts were withdrawn. The day was chilly, and the men trudged along in coats buttoned over their ammunition box. Let you have a good idea of the trail here. Let's just walk right over the nice little bridge. Okay, I believe we're going to come into the area here where people fell. And if you've ever been to the battlefield, I'm not sure how much is left because of development, but if you've ever been to the battlefield where the first Manassas or Battle of Bull Run in Virginia, it's very similar. They have these markings. Here it says Lieutenant Mudge fell. So obviously this was a bloody area that day. The second phase of the battle lasted until about 2 p.m. Most of the force of 108 men had been killed. The wounded were dispatched by the enemy after the battle ended, with the exception of 3 members of Major Dade's forces who survived the attack and returned to Fort Brooke. Chief Alligator, the Seminole leader, claimed that only 3 of his warriors were killed and only 5 were wounded. This truly is a beautiful park, incidentally, for those of you who have never been here. Bushnell is about an hour, about 45 minutes north of Tampa, maybe. Just take I-75, look for the signs for Dade Battlefield, and voila. I believe that this is the area similar here where they threw the cannon into the water. Okay, we just saw Lieutenant Mudge's stone right here. Now we're coming over and we have further stones. Now I want you to imagine what it would be like to be in this area that does not have any development around it like they do now. And one of your top people, Captain Frazier, fell here. Lieutenant Mudge over here, Captain Frazier here. Imagine what it would be like to be a soldier and you're trying to survive. You're trying to reach some place of safety dealing with this battle. The scene of ambush remained deserted for 7 weeks. Finally, on February 20th, 1836, an expedition under General Gaines arrived here, identified the bodies, and gave them proper burial with military rites, placing officers' bodies on the east side of the trail and the enlisted men in 2 graves within the redoubt. The small cannon was retrieved from a nearby pond in which the Seminoles had thrown it. They mounted it muzzle down as a monument to the dead. Almost 6 years later, on August 15, 1842, the officers and the men of the Army contributed funds to pay for a second internment, and Dade's silent command now rests in the National Cemetery at St. Augustine. So here we're going to see another body. Lieutenant Mudge, Captain Frazier, and Major Dade, of whom I believe Dade County was named. Okay, new marker. Suddenly, men reeled and fell to a deadly fire poured upon them from behind trees and palmettos. Half of Major Dade's command lay dead or wounded. Major Dade and Captain Frazier were killed nearby, and 3 of the 6 surviving officers were wounded. Those men remaining after the first onslaught sought cover from which they might return the fire. After several rounds from their cannon, the Indians withdrew a short distance. The soldiers hastily threw together a low redoubt of logs, cared for their wounded, and collected ammunition from the fallen.